Hey everybody, welcome back to the Thinking Crypto channel. I have some very interesting news for you. Mark Cuban has trashed and called out Gary Gensler and the SEC on Twitter today. This is very interesting. Remember, Mark Cuban won a suit against the SEC. We're going to talk about Ripple and their respective legal team response to the SEC about respective documents and some of the footnotes within those responses, guys. Very interesting. I want to share the details with you. We're going to go into it. Before we do, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment below, and hit the subscribe button if you're new here. It helps support the channel, and it doesn't cost you anything. If you're listening on any of the podcast sites, be sure to give me a 5-star rating, guys. Once again, it supports the channel. Thank you so much. This video is brought to you by OKCoin Crypto Exchange, where you can buy, sell, and trade your favorite cryptocurrencies, and you don't have to pay high fees. OKCoin has low fees. In addition, you can stake your crypto and keep 100% of the rewards. You don't have to pay any other fees like you do with other exchanges. So be sure to sign up, link in the description. Also, be sure to sign up for my free weekly newsletter, link in the description as well. Heads up, I will be interviewing Jack McDonald, the CEO at PolySign and Standard Custody. And I'm highlighting this because we're going to talk about Ripple today. We know a lot of Ripple employees are part of PolySign in getting this set up in the service. Arthur Brito, as well as David Schwartz and some other folks as well. So that interview should be live hopefully by next week. So make sure you got the notification bell enabled. So guys, check this out. The SEC tweeted today, job alert, the Division of Enforcement is seeking to fill a senior officer chief counsel position located in Washington, D.C. So I retweeted that and with this response. Well, guys, I'm going to work for the SEC. I want to double dip like Jay Clayton and William Hinman did. Get ready for me to hand out lawsuits to pick winners and losers and speak on behalf of the SEC, then backtrack and say it was just my opinion. Poking a little fun at the SEC. We know the likes of Jay Clayton and William Hinman, what they did. I'm not trashing the entire SEC. There's some great people there like Hester Peirce and Elad Roisman. The other folks, I cannot say the same for them. And check this out. Mark Cuban, billionaire Mark Cuban, owner of the Dallas Mavericks, obviously investing in crypto as well. In response to a Gary Gensler tweet, here's what he said. This is such bullshit. You don't start the BS. Excuse me, you didn't start the BS. Please don't continue it. If you are working on behalf of investors, you make it easy for questions by investors and business people to be asked and answered. You make it near impossible. Those that can't afford lawyers can only guess. Absolutely. And this is not only for crypto, guys. This is how the SEC is operated within a black box. They would rather not put clear regulations out and wait for that gotcha moment, right? Let's see what these guys are going to do, just like they did with Ripple, the fair notice defense, right? Where were they when FinCEN fined Ripple back in like 2015, right? Why did they not give clarity? Why did they not tell Ripple to pause whatever? Or, hey, you can't do this with XRP. They waited 8 years. And it's pretty clear, and even Mark is calling them out. Now, Mark does have a history with them. Check this out. This is from 2013. Why the SEC lost its big case against Mark Cuban. And this was related to it says here, Cuban, who owns Dallas Mavericks, is accused of ditching stock in a meta search internet company called Mama.com in 2004 after he got an inside tip on upcoming offerings that would have diluted his shares. So the outcome is here in the article. It says the outcome that made the SEC look bad for bringing up the case in the first place. And I think just like it's making them look bad back then, or made them look bad back then, they're looking really bad now with this Ripple case, right? And I've said it before, there's a bit of a conflict of interest here in general, because part of the SEC's funding comes from the settlements. So if you're not operating primarily off of taxpayer money, but rather you're incentivized to go get as much money coming in, and I'm sure they're lining their pockets, right? You're going to try to find any or which way to try to drum up anything, fabricate something to go after people, right? Because human nature, right? You don't even have to tell me if it's the SEC or not. Human nature, right? People will operate that way. Not everybody, but if you if you structure it that way, you incentivize them that way, it's going to happen. Now, what was Gary Gensler, what was Mark replying to as far as what Gary Gensler said? Gensler tweeted the following today: if someone asks a lawyer, accountant, or advisor if something is over the line, maybe it's time to step back from the line, going right up to the edge of a rule or searching for some ambiguity in the text or a footnote may not be consistent with the law and its purpose. This is a 4-part tweet, by the way. The spirit of the law is about protecting investors. Our rigorous enforcement regime, SEC, Gov, or whatever it is about following the facts and the law, whenever they may lead on behalf of investors and working families. This includes deceptive conduct by private funds, offering or accounting frauds, insider trading, market manipulation, failures to act in retail customers' best interests, reporting violations, best execution and fiduciary violations, or any other form of misconduct. He says, in case you missed it, read my full remarks at FINRA's annual conference. Now, this is all fine and dandy, but we know guys like William Hinman and Jay Clayton, what they did, right? And the conflicts of interest and where they went to work and so on and so forth. And in addition, the SEC's not providing clear crypto regulations for the entire market and operating as though everybody knows that crypto aligns with the Howey test. Well, it doesn't, not 100%. So you have to provide updated regulations. That's common sense. And that's why I've said before in videos, does Gary think we're stupid or something here? Like, people can read stuff online. They can see what you said, what you did and didn't do. It's all on the web now. So he can say this, but obviously the SEC itself is not in order. Their house is not in order. And we clearly see that with Jay Clayton and William Hinman, how those things were handled. So this is BS. He can say, like Mark said, this is such bullshit, right? You didn't start the BS. Please don't continue it. Gary's in a position to change things at the SEC, but it looks like he wants to continue the same status quo, because ultimately he's a Goldman Sachs guy. If you look up his background, and I'm sure they are calling him up and giving him monies and favors and so forth to do these things. Now, we don't know that for a fact, but I think we can read between the lines and see how he's talked about things. I've shown you the video with him and Tim Draper, and when Tim Draper started exposing how the narrative is put out by these banks, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, he started to squirm and tried to interrupt Tim Draper, right? So I think we're seeing his true colors here. And I think the SEC is going to continue to look like fools the same way they did with the case against Mark Cuban, where they lost. Now, moving ahead, James K. Filan tweeted the following: the Ripple XRP lawsuit by the SEC. Ripple files response to the SEC's opposition to defendants' motion to compel the production of internal and interagency documents. Read footnote 2 and accompanying text. And here's one of the footnotes or lines from that. Mr. Hinman's personal views as to XRP status are dubious. Here's what attorney Jeremy Hogan had. Matt Solomon on fire, and great minds think alike, hitting on the main points I talked about in my video, that the SEC is attempting to relitigate the privilege issue, and the fact that the SEC backs off the privilege argument on 40 docs means that a judge review is needed. Bam. So the SEC, they don't have any, they're grasping at straws here, right? They're trying to find any way out because they don't have a solid case. Now, do I believe Ripple may have to pay a small settlement, relatively to their earnings and their valuation? Yeah, for like what happened in 2013 to 2015, just like they paid FINRA back then, or FinCEN, I should say, and that will be it. But the SEC can't, they don't have any solid case to try to stop Ripple and XRP. So this is all BS in my opinion. And here's the respective letter that was filed. So let me read some of it for you guys. So, dear Judge Netburn, on behalf of Bradley Garlinghouse and Chris Larson, the individual defendants and Ripple Labs and collectively defendants, we write to respond to the SEC's opposition to defendants' motion to compel the production of internal and interagency documents. At issue here is the proprietary of the SEC's blanket invocation of deliberative process privilege, yet the SEC spends the bulk of its opposition relitigating the relevance of materials that the court has already found to be relevant and compelled to produce. So the SEC still has not given up the internal documents. And of course, they have a lot to hide, my friends. They know Hinman and all these guys and Jay Clayton, what they've been doing. So they're going to try to hide as much of that as possible. The SEC also continues to fight the legal standards that the court has already recognized apply to the fair notice defense raised by Ripple and the SEC's aiding and abetting claims against the individual defendants. What the SEC does not, because it cannot defend, is its across the board assertion of the DPP. So that is the deliberative process privilege. Instead, the SEC asked the court to trust it, order production of nothing, and look at nothing, withstanding the SEC's admission, buried in a footnote, that it improperly designated 40 documents as protected by the DPP when the privilege does not apply. The SEC here, man, I mean, this is pathetic. This is a government agency. This is nonsense, man. So it continues. I'm not going to read through everything. You guys can read through it. I'll link to it in the document, in the description of the video, so you guys can check it out. But long story short, TLDR, SEC is looking bad again. Ripple in the strong position here. And Gary Gensler is getting roasted here on Twitter by Mark Cuban. And I think similar to the Mark Cuban outcome, the Ripple will win this. And when I say win it, will they still have to pay a fine? I think so, but they're not going to get ultimately shut down, or what the SEC is trying to do, or make XRP a security. Because even if you look at the Howey test example, it wasn't the oranges that were security. It was the act of how they were sold and represented that made them, that constituted securities. But oranges itself, or orange groves, are not securities, right? They're just things. So it doesn't matter if it's XRP, oranges, apples, bananas, or whatever, right? NFTs, I don't know, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. What matters is how you're executing on it. And obviously, though, the Howey test needs to be updated. It needs to be a version 2.0 if you're going to judge digital assets in crypto. And of course, we see the double standard, right? Picking of winners and losers here. They gave Bitcoin a free pass, which I understand. Ethereum, they gave a free pass, even though they did an ICO. William Hinman said, our in his statements, then backtrack and say, oh, no, it was my personal opinion. Yet his speech is on the SEC's website. Come on, what do you think? We're stupid here, right? This is just nonsense. So I get fired up about this because the SEC is supposed to be protecting investors, yet they're hurting them. And we can see the clear conflict of interest and double standards, guys. It's really, really blood boiling, if you want to put it that way. Anyway, guys, what do you think about this? I like that Mark Cuban called out Gensler and the SEC. I love it. I want more people to do this. I want them to be embarrassed. I want them to be called out and be kept accountable, right? We got to keep them accountable. They're working off of our tax dollars, especially if you're here in the United States, of course. So they need to represent us. And people are upset. They have not addressed the injunction that Attorney John Deaton filed on behalf of, or the intervention or injunction. I'm not a lawyer, so one of those terminologies. On behalf of XRP holders, they have not addressed it, but yet they're supposed to represent, us. Annoying, so annoying. Anyway, guys, what do you think? Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button, share this video, and I'll talk to you all later.